Probably don't have any chance of having the best hand now. But yeah, we are going to go back to the other hand as soon as this hand is over. I think it's 2 easy folds. Okay. Huh, okay, we'll fold this. Okay, back to this hand. This hand, start from the very beginning. Like I said, he's in middle to early-ish. Limped in with ace-10 offsuit. It's not terrible. If I'm going to play it, I'm probably going to come in for a raise. I hate limping in. But, you know, limping in is okay, I guess. That's not really a big issue. But, you know, when I raise right behind him to 160, and he only has 30 out there, and he has ace-10 offsuit, his hand plays very, very poorly against my range of raising hands. It just so happens that only being like, you know, a 65. Well, he's only like a 30%. He's only like a 70-30 dog to my kings. The problem is that that's virtually his best case scenario. So he's calling 130 more after only putting 30 in to see a flop out of position with a mediocre hand against my range of raising hands. So I think the biggest mistake in this entire hand is the call pre-flop. Limping in with ace-10 offsuit is fine. Somebody raises to 160 behind you and you're out of position. Throw away your ace-10 offsuit. You're never going to make money. Ever. Ever, never. I mean, there's a lot more reasons, but I mean, he doesn't know them. I mean, he's playing against a better player. I mean, I don't want to sound cocky or anything, but you don't want to... Okay, we'll get back to that. See, this is an interesting situation. Ace-Jack offsuit, he's raising under the gun. I have Ace-Jack offsuit. Most people are going to call with this. I'm not. Blinds are still real small. Still have 4,200 chips. There's no reason to get involved with Ace-Jack offsuit. Yeah, I'm in position. He raised under the gun. Under the gun. So Ace-Jack offsuit, not all that great. See, I've been talking so much about my other hand that I've actually neglected to realize that we're actually only playing 7-handed. So Ace-Jack offsuit, not a terrible call when he raises under the gun 7-handed. Not terrible. I still don't mind the fold, though. So yeah, pay a little bit more attention here. And there we go. Who needs to pay attention when you have 2 aces in your hand, right? Obviously, this is going to be a raise and re-raise, and let's get all the chips in and have some fun. But I don't really even need to say anything about this. I mean, it's possible to play aces badly, but not pre-flop. Not really. Well, obviously, when you have 2 aces, this is a great flop. One thing you need to keep in mind, though, is that aces is it's not invulnerable. You know, in a situation like this, he could really easily have something that draws really well to here. So, I mean, checking with the king, would he check with the king? He probably would check with the king. But we're going to keep the pot small here. Check right behind. That's actually a good card for us, because I don't see that there's any chance of him having an 8. By the way, I'm supposed to have the king myself, so this is an easy call. Ew, that's pretty sick. That's pretty sick. He actually had a lot of outs. He had a flush draw too. But yeah, we're going to talk about that hand now. But like I said, aces is a really easy hand to play pre-flop. Not so much post-flop. I might close this completely and try to figure out where that last hand went. But, I mean, I think we played that hand pretty perfect. I'm not going to give him credit for having any kind of draw or anything. He called a raise pre-flop. I mean, flop came king high. I bet really good amount. He paid the really good amount. We'll find out if he made any mistakes or if I made any mistakes on betting. See, I raised early position. He called with 8-6 suited out of the big blind. You know, I really don't have a problem with that. I think that's fine. He checks. He flops bottom pair. I bet 250, which is, you know, more than 2/3 of the pot. That's about right. He calls. Um, uh, it's not terrible. I mean, the call's not terrible. You have bottom pair, backdoor flush draws. There's a chance that, there's a chance that if I have something good and he makes a really good hand, he could get a lot of chips. I know that that's not true because I'm not going to give him a lot of chips, like ever, basically. The only way we're getting a whole hell of a lot of chips in that pot is if, I hit an ace and he has, less of a full house. But he doesn't know that. So, I don't know, questionable call on the flop, but not terrible. Turn brings a king, pairs the board, he checks. At this point, I have no, flush draw on the board, but kings, I mean, I would say the most likely hand that he could have at that point is something with a king on it. And a check raise situation on the turn there actually makes a lot of sense. I don't really buy into the idea of protecting against the flush draws here with aces. For me anyway, because I mean, if the flush hits, like the card actually hits in, I can see it. It's on board. I know that a flush is possible. I'm not going to lose a ton of chips. So going out of my way to protect against it is pretty bad. But I mean on the river, he literally hits the miracle card. Because I mean, if he hits the spade, I might not even call a bet because I thought he might have a king already. So I might not even call a bet if he hits a spade on the river. But I mean, he hits the joker card. He hits exactly the 8. That's the only card he can hit on the river, win the hand, and earn an additional bet on. And I think he bet too small on the river, probably. Because he's bet folding this river. This river is a bet fold for him. He can't call any raise. Because if I raise, that means I pretty much have, ugh, I hate situations like this. Getting 7-1. We'll see a flop with her terrible, terrible, terrible hand. Getting 7-1. Yeah, that's atrocious. But yeah, I mean, betting 300 is a little small because he has to bet fold. Yeah, not as bad as the other guys, I guess. I mean, questionable, I guess. Questionable call on the flop, maybe, but not really. I mean, when you have such deep stacks, I really don't mind that call that much. Against a pre-flop raiser out of position, when I flop an 8 and I check and there's a decent bet, I would say I'm probably folding it a little bit more than playing it, but I don't think it's bad. And then check on the turn is fine. He's got bottom pair, and it gives him a flush draw, but there's a pair of kings on the board. I'm just wondering what would have happened if I would have bet the turn, because I don't really even like. I mean, if I bet the turn, I don't even really like him calling there, even though his hand improved. Because if I have a king, he's literally drawing. Well, I mean, I guess he could draw to a flush card that doesn't pair the board if I have a king already.